Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Gender Tech Podcast with me, Ruth Atim. It's one of those days where you wake up and think of the things that are happening around you, and yet there is a finger being pointed at this particular person that they are the ones that are making it happen the way it's happening. And today we are here to talk about the allegation. It could be an allegation. It could be a fact that men are the grave perpetrators of online harassment against women. Not all men, though, but research and books and podcasts and blogs out there show that men are the grave perpetrators of online harassment. So with me, I have quite amazing guests who are going to help us demystify this allegation. They'll introduce themselves, and then we'll get to talking about the topic of the day. You're welcome.
Thank you, Ruth, and viewers. My name is Michael Ojok, and I'm happy to be on the Gender Tech Podcast.
And our female guests.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Kimong Evelyn, a.k.a. Kim, the Phenomenal Woman.
Kim, the Phenomenal Woman.
Yes.
You're welcome
Thank
to the
you.
Gender Tech Podcast.
Thank you very much.
Well, so today we are talking about, like I said earlier on, it could be an allegation, or it could be a myth, or it could be something that is not even researched or factual, that men are the grave perpetrators of online violence. As a man, the only elephant in the room, what do you say about that?
First off, online violence against women is widespread in our world today, and Uganda is no exception, just like any other places. But also, I don't agree with the notion that men are the greatest perpetrators of violence against women online, because if we start narrowing it down into what gender is doing what, then one will ask you, but we've also seen quite a number of women who are speaking ill about fellow women or things that they see happening online. So personally, I think because we live in this patriarchal society, and then many issues that happen could easily be traced back to a man in the picture. So men end up taking the blame, but both men and women alike practice violence online against women. I'll give you a case in point. Last year, a lady was filmed in a washroom somewhere having sex with another male partner, and men and women alike spoke very rudely and derogatorily about her, and sometimes you even find fellow women doing that to their colleagues. But that said, there could be quite a number of men who are doing it compared to the women. On the flip side, if you look at things like leaking nudes or relationships going bad, very few women leak nudes of their male partners if things have gone wrong in between them. But every now and then we see more and more nude pictures and videos of women online, usually by either a jilted lover or something of the sort. So it just goes ahead to drive the narrative that men are the greatest perpetrators, but both men and women alike do this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kim, the Phenomenal Woman.
Yes, thank you very much. This is actually a very interesting topic for me. I personally believe the online violence is more than just what we see online. It is a reflection of where we come from.
Yep.
Online is just a duplicate of our homes, of our community. And this is not just a question of violence. It's a question of power. Who holds the power? Who guarantees the other? The online violence is more than what we see online. It is a reflection of where we come from, and it is a question of power to me. I'm privileged to have a bit of some background in gender studies. And what manifests online is a question of power between mostly the male and female. I would want to agree that, yes, to a greater extent, men are the perpetrators of online violence. But to a degree, there are also women who are very actively violating others online. And the violence is not necessarily against the women, against anybody that maybe they decide to pick on that day.
Yeah.
And they are properly trolled and I don't know. And the worst is given. Yeah.
Yeah, we've also seen women creating pseudo accounts.
Yes.
Yeah, accounts not in their real names, all in the names of trolling. Hiding their identity so that they could maybe speak up their minds, or make some hateful comments on a certain on women, which is really absurd that
Okay,
a woman
like-
would do that to a fellow woman.
Like I said,
Yeah.
online is just a reflection of our community. If we see the power relation in the community where we come from, women do not yet have that space to express how much they feel in the most honest way. There's a way we are still caged, that you're not free enough to say what your heart feels like. But it does not mean you're innocent. It does not mean you're not violent.
Yep.
Women are violent themselves. So because the space out, the community out, has still caged them, it makes them go ahead to create these pseudo accounts because it hides their identity,
Yeah,
and it gives them the opportunity to be who they really are,
the real them.
and the violent bit comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually interesting because my initial thought is that many people look at the online space as something safe for them. You are not there fighting a battle physically. You are in your own space, behind your phone, behind your computer, either in your bedroom or in the toilet, and you're saying things necessarily because there is no one who can easily reach you and punch you if you say something against them or something derogatory. So no matter what the other person feels, for you, you're here. You just have your phone like this, and you're doing your things. And I think for me, many people do not have the courage to face either someone who has annoyed them or wronged them head on. So they retreat to a space which is very, very safe for them. But also that calls into question why are we taking the law in our own hands? If me and a friend today decide to end our relationship or friendship or whatever, because I have insider information about my friend, and depending on how that relationship, panned out, I could easily use that information to then recruit other people, other haters, to now start hating on this person, cyberbullying them, because I have information that, oh, you broke up with your boyfriend. Like yesterday, but this famous journalist, what's her name? Namere?
Namere Justin.
Put a picture of herself and her fiancé who had come to visit her. And now people started saying she's an old woman. She has how many kids? What is she doing with this, young boy? And then other women started coming up and saying, abusing other women who are already on the thread. There's one famous one on Twitter called Didi, I think, something like that. Someone said she has 4 kids with different men. Why is she talking against Justin? So you realize that the trend just keeps on going on and on. And it's even worse if you are already in the limelight and people have some information about you. So sometimes you wonder what the authorities are not doing, and why do people feel like they cannot trust the authority to deal with perpetrators of online abuse, and instead they fight back online, sort of like to malign someone who is already there. But also we have seen many people create pseudo accounts because I am Ojok Michael and I know Ruth, a team, and Ruth is my friend, but I have some insider information. So how do I put that information out without Ruth knowing that it's me? So I will go ahead and create another account, either for a woman or a man, and start sharing information about you. But now also, more and more platforms are making their online spaces safe. There are safeguards that if you're creating a new account, you go through to make sure you're a human being, but also if you are using certain words of abuse online, those keywords are flagged off and your account is either suspended or, things like that. But yes, it definitely still needs more regulation on that front, but also each of us who know better could act a little responsibly online to make sure in the spaces where we are, we don't condone it, but also we call out those who practice that. Yeah. Unfortunately, you will not be so famous if you're doing what not many other people are already doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
You talked about people not trusting the authorities to bring these perpetrators to book. I'll speak from experience. It's I think it's really I think our authorities are not, we've not reached that level where we can trace a harasser, an online harasser, and bring them to book. And that is why people now resort to facing the problems head on. Yeah. They either create those pseudo accounts to to also abuse the people back, or then there's other things like trolling, and then harassing other people online also comes in. Because if you are to go and report a case of online harassment, that case is you're actually going to spend a lot of money to look for this particular person who has harassed you, and it's going to be in vain.
So Konrad Adenauer Stiftung in 2020 or 2021 did a research on why online harassment against women, online violence rather, is persistent. Yeah. And one of the things that was identified is that even those in authority don't know how to handle perpetrators, or they simply do not know better, or what exactly is online harassment and what the laws that are supposed to act talks about. For instance, you know how many victims of online violence, especially women, if your nude is already out there, instead of going to look for the person who put out that nude, many people will come again and say, why did you take it? Why did you share it? Yeah. And yet, probably you shared it in a moment of intimacy and you wanted to, keep things between you going. But at the end of the day, many people turn around and start accusing you as the victim. Yeah. So what that means also is that more and more victims will not come out, and then you're not getting evidence to act. So there's this victim blame culture that we have going on. So it's true that even the authorities themselves don't know any better or what exactly has to be done. And technologically, how can you prove that I harassed you, or this came from my handle, or things like that? So we still have a long way to go, except for maybe creating awareness. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Picking from what you've said, actually going back to the question of who is the perpetrator of online violence. Like I was earlier on saying, online is a reflection of our community. Today, where we are, as Acholi, as Uganda, as Africa, the spaces are not yet safe enough for the women. And we are still very enshrined in our cultural beliefs and perspectives. Our culture gives the man the ultimate power to decide to do anything that they wish as a man. And so a man feels very entitled that he can say anything, anywhere, anywhere, if he wishes. And because he's a man. And because of that, we see the trolls and everything on women online, because they have the permission to do that by the community. And if you try to fight back as a woman, they'll come after you. And when they come after you, it won't just be the men coming after you. It will be everybody. because our community has made it in a way that what a man says is correct. And so everybody must come and support what that man has said. And so women themselves get recruited to come and abuse maybe the person who is being abused, if that is a woman anyway. And you find that at the end of the day, the abuse, the stroll and everything becomes overwhelming from both gender.
So out of curiosity, maybe to both of you, have you ever been harassed online?
I do activism. I could say I'm a feminist activist, but more, I could say I'm a gender activist. And issues of women touch me very differently from other issues. I'm very passionate. And I have always spoken about things that I feel is not right, and about things that are humanly not right or basing on the human rights standard is not right, especially against women. Yeah. I use my platform to always air this voice.
Which platform?
My Facebook, my Twitter sometimes, but mostly Facebook. Yeah. And I've done my advocacy for more than 5 years. And my advocacy is more to do with sensitization, like opening our eyes to what we see as normal, yet in the real sense is not actually normal. What we feel is not abuse, but yet when you look deep down, it is an indirect abuse.
And how has been the reception towards you?
The reception has greatly been negative. Yeah. Like I said, rooting in our culture, there are things that we've been practicing and we feel is very normal. And so when you stand up to speak against it, if I remember, I one time spoke about sharing household chores. Yeah. Maybe if you're at home with your wife and you've all not gone to work and you're not committed doing something, why don't you go to the kitchen and maybe share the cooking? Yeah. Why don't you do the chores? Why don't you watch over the kids? And of course, because our community looks at that as a woman's role, as a woman's job, as a woman's work, they felt like I was trying to undo that which is right. But if you put a humanitarian lens, or from a family perspective, you realize that raising children or taking care of our households is our sole responsibilities. Yeah. Cooking, washing is just, to me, or to any other person who understands it better, is self-care. They're more like life skills. Mm-hmm. What we all need to know, we all need to learn, we all need to do to survive. As simple as that. But because our community is set in a given way, which of course was okay some times ago, but because times change and different challenges keep coming up, and these challenges come with different solutions, times have changed. What used to work before, in the past, was okay for certain settings in our community. Yeah. But now, in this 21st century, those things mostly don't work. Like I can give, for example, our source of livelihood used to be hunting. And the hunters were the men because they were physically energetic. They could wrestle maybe the wild animals. Just in our biological making, women might not have the physical ability. And so that work was left to the men. Yeah. And because we would wish to share, work at home, the women had the role to cook. Now, relating that to the current time, we all go to hunt. The hunting of today is no longer with the spears, or it does not call for you to be physically energetic. It only needs the brain. Yeah. And Because God has created all of us as human with some sense of understanding, we are all hunters now. We all go to work. A woman goes to the market to do some business. A man goes somewhere to do his work. And in the evening, they all converge home. Now, in that case, you're all hunters. Who is now supposed to cook what you've brought? That means the responsibility lies on all of you. You see? And so if you try to question this setting that you feel is unfair, that is left to the woman, and you put it up there on the space, this community that is stuck in their past would think you're trying to overturn that which is right. And at the end of the day, they become violent.
Yes.
They start hating on you. They start abusing you. They start looking at how best they can crush you.
Online.
Wow.
And how has that? How has it affected your maybe your lifestyle or your perception towards the usage of this mediums?
Personally, I feel it is about understanding that which you stand for, and about understanding your content. Issues of gender is very sensitive because it has power involved. Anything that involves power, there is a struggle.
True.
And so when I go out there to speak about gender, speak about women, speak about men, and try to get to the spaces that are prohibited, I know I'm dealing with something that I shouldn't. Yeah. And so I need to grow the thickest skin. Does not mean I don't pain as human.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel down, but I have grown a defense mechanism. I might get down there, but I don't take long. I look at the bigger picture. Okay, this has been said, so what?
I think having a thick skin is a mechanism that all of us need to develop, because being someone who is very vocal like you, speaks her mind on social media, and then is faced with backlash, hateful comments, and all that, you need to really have a thick skin to be able to come back and express your views again.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
And also, because you need to be aware of your content. Mm-hmm. If you're not aware, you're going to start doubting yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like, am I really doing the right thing? What if what they're saying is actually the right thing? So you need to get familiar with your content so that when you go there to speak, the other opinion does not recruit you to the other way which you're speaking against. Yeah. So it's good to know your content. Mm-hmm. And know what change you want to bring. Yeah. I said I'm a gender scholar. I believe the world of today needs a different approach. The world of today favors everybody, and everyone should be given that opportunity to get there. And so if you need speaking for us to get there, I'm going to speak. True. I'm going to get out there. If somebody is going to harass me, that is their problem. I will have spoken. Mm-hmm.
Yeah? You will have put your message out there. I will have
put my message out there. Yeah. Whoever wants to learn something from it, well and good.
It's up to them to either consume it or
leave
trash it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
you can trash it. That is your business. That is your opinion. Yeah. That is mine. I have put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yes.
I asked a question earlier on. Have you ever, as a man, been harassed online, either by a woman or by a fellow man?
Good question. By a fellow man, yes. A woman, no. But also, when Kim is talking about power dynamics, I understand, because if you are to hold and stay in power, you need to exercise some level of authority. And that is done by both men and women. Yeah. Also, we live in a society that still wants to be very traditional, but times are changing. So you'll realize that there are women, men, elders, who still want to enjoy the perks of being a traditional society, but also living in modern times. I'll tell you, for instance, bride price. If you go to marry, in our society, it's the man who pays bride price. So for many men, if they pay bride price, they look at it as some sort of like a passage that they have bought a commodity. And because the woman is leaving their home, coming to your home, they become the wife in your family. So they literally have to take care of the home. Also, Kim talked about sharing responsibilities in us. Those are not gender roles. They are things that have to be done by any human being. But if we still have women who say, your money is our money, but my money is my money. So you go to work, the money for the man is to take care of the family and many other things, but my money is simply for me and my family and, things like that.
Yeah.
So the man, despite the fact that both of you are working, a man will sit somewhere and say, look, I am literally taking care of all the cost in the house, despite you working. So when I come home, why can't I find food on the table or food cooked or my clothes washed? Whereas if recently we have been doing a series of trainings with parents, young parents and mature who are struggling with parenting in their own families. So Stephen Langa and his wife shared with us how for them as a family they manage money. And they have one bank account that they both use for, their work. And
Transactions.
every money that each person earns goes in that account.
One
One
joint
bank account. The wife gives it at her workplace, he gives it at his workplace. So any money that is coming in the family is money for,
Wow.
the family. So when you're transparent with your spouse and partner, and this probably works only in marriage, if there's that level of transparency, then you know that no one is taking advantage of the other. But also in a society where people get together today and they're divorcing tomorrow, you want to have those safeguards, which in the past we used not to worry about. But until both of us, because also we have seen quite a number of women jumping onto issues that put down other women for reasons best known to them, so to speak. So both men and women perpetrate violence online and offline. But when Kim said men are looked at as figures of authority, it depends on where do you come from. Also, in your family, what did you grow up seeing? Did you grow up seeing a loving mother and father living together, not abusing, not fighting? So those things that children grow up seeing ends up, following them at the end of the day. If you came from a family where what the man says goes, no matter whether it's right or wrong, trust me, children in that home will grow up knowing that the man is the authority figure in this home. So totally there's no need for building consensus and things like that. But if you grow up in a setting where there's consultation, the mother and father will talk and agree, then come to the children, and whether they are annoyed or not, they don't show it to the children. So you end up bringing your child knowing that women and girls in the home are to be respected. You don't abuse your sister, you protect your sister when they're being abused by other people, and things like that. So for me, from where I sit, we all could use respect for one another, regardless of the gender. But also, if for a man, and this is the question that I wanted to ask Kim, if a man wants to show his authority in a home, you understand that if we break up, I want to make sure that people look at you as the bad person. So that explains why men do it. Why do women do it? Why would a woman sit somewhere and start abusing a fellow woman? Why would a woman, because again, the other thing is that us men would sit by the roadside at a kafunda and talk and joke. If things don't go well between us, we'll cut our losses and move on. You rarely see men spilling secrets that they shared amongst themselves. But women, so many people fear the female relationship, because I know today I'm sharing so much with you, and then the next day, if something goes wrong, those things my boyfriend will start telling them. But I know I only told my girlfriend. So why do women feel the need to be violent against fellow women?
Okay. Okay, thank you for that question. That question is not easy, but I'll try to answer it.
Yeah.
Why do women tend to put down fellow women?
Yeah.
Okay. We come from a patrilineal background. I will always recognize that power is vested in the man,
Yeah.
and the man is seen as the sole authority, the sole decision maker. So when a woman fails in the relationship, it's a reflection that that woman has failed to follow the standard set by man. And so that woman has failed the community. So fellow women who already been, I could say, they're indoctrinated to think that whatever a man says, whatever a man does is right, would feel this woman has failed the community, this one has failed the man. Because they are taught to believe that the woman is the doer. Yeah. For the relationship to work, it is the woman. And so if you fail, both male and female will come to point fingers at you. Mm-hmm. And so, to me, that is the very reason fellow women come to abuse other fellow women or to spill secrets.
Could it be like a defense mechanism?
I don't think it's a defense mechanism. I could say it's a reflection of their disappointment. Because this woman has not done that which society thinks is right. Yeah. Like, in case you fail in your relationship. For me, this patrilineal society has made me believe that to be a woman, you must not fail in your marriage. You must follow everything that your husband tells you. You must do as he wants. And when you do that, you will not fail in your marriage. And so we believe that women who fail in their marriages are not good listeners to their husbands. And so everybody is going to come at that woman, irrespective of man or women. They will come at you. Maybe the women we have been justified to be the perpetrators. Yeah. But I think everybody goes after the woman after a failed marriage. Because the feeling is you failed everybody. You failed the society. You failed the power figure. You failed the male. Yes. That's what I think, Mike.
Yeah, just to weigh in a little bit, and also back to our actual topic of men being looked at the grave perpetrators of online harassment. You mentioned that being human, some of those comments get to you. Deep inside you hurt as a person. Have you employed any mechanisms or any ways of curbing or reducing the number of hateful comments or trolls on your platforms that you use for activism?
Okay, you see, they always say silence is gold. What I have always done, except for one time previously, I have always not responded to an abuser. Mm-hmm. I make sure I go and say my mind, leave it there. If you want to talk about it, that's your business. If you want to be negative, that's your business. But for some reason, I felt previously that if you keep entertaining these people who come and abuse you, they go, tomorrow they come and abuse you and they go, it becomes an habit for them to keep abusing. And so I felt like we should be able to know at which point you should tell somebody to stop and tell them what they're doing is not the right thing. Yeah. So it is a matter of knowing when to say stop and when to entertain what.
Have you thought of blocking them,
I do.
Bar them from viewing?
Yeah, I do. There are those that they say you can't wrestle a pig in the mud. Yeah. Even if you tell them whatever kind of form of sense, they will not listen. They will not understand. You will be literally wasting your time. So blocking them, getting them out of your space is the solution. Mm-hmm. But also a person like me, I encourage divergent opinion. I would not hurry to block somebody quickly. I would listen to them. I would listen to their point of view. And if that person can still be informed, I'll leave you there to get more informed on my wall because I know you'll come back next time. But to get to a point where I am blocking you, I will have looked at you not just once, not twice, and felt like this is irredeemable. And this person I need to get rid of.
Yeah, Michael mentioned that Facebook, all these online platforms have they have keywords that they do filter out, and
Yep.
if you someone who is constantly harassing people or using certain keywords online, your account gets restricted or you're taken into a virtual jail.
Yeah.
And Facebook also has this option of reporting a comment. So let's say there's this particular person that keeps trolling you, like that keeps sending out those hateful comments. You could rally the people within your circle to report that comment. When Facebook sees that there is much traffic coming from very many people about this particular person, then Facebook, the online platform itself, will take action, either to deactivate their accounts, or to bar him or her from getting access or consuming the content that you share. I think that is something that that us and everyone who is watching us out there should, or any victim of online harassment should use block, or if blocking is something that is not going to work for you, you could report or rally people within your circle to report this particular account online. Yeah.
So I remember a girl here in Gulu whose nude pictures leaked some times back. And 2 years after, another colleague of ours, also a celebrity now, I think picked those things and started blackmailing this girl that if you don't have sex with me, I'm going to reshare your nudes. So I met this girl. She was crying, and then when I asked her, she started sharing with me messages that this guy had sent to her. So, and this was our friend, unfortunately. So I remember going to this guy and telling her that you know who you are and the business you do in Gulu. If you continue with this, that girl might not, but now we know. So we are going to share your screenshots with your names. And I think for me, that totally stopped. So sometimes also, many people suffer violence online, silently, because it's coming to their inbox. And then they're not posting about you openly. Like I know now, when Kim, yesterday, I didn't know we would be on this show together, but when I was driving back to Gulu, I saw a comment, a screenshot that you and Okano and other guys were talking. Then there was this particular one where you were asking this girl for why, she was comparing herself with you. And I saw a comment. So I was like, if we could all get to a point where we decide to call out people in our circles about what they are doing wrong, the authorities might not do something about it, but if maybe people who know you sit you down and tell you, what you're doing is not right, please stop, or else we are going to out you.
Yeah.
And many people, if they still have some humility or face to self, they would definitely stop. But the way we are in Uganda is that the responsibility is shifted a lot on people who don't have the power to do anything. For instance, the victim, many people will say, why did you share your pictures with this person? But also we have very many girls who are literally flaunting themselves half naked or even naked online.
Ignorantly.
So when somebody picks up that picture of yours and saves it, and they wait maybe 10 years from now, when you're a famous person, and they start putting it, like you literally put that thing, you put that content for people to consume ignorantly.
Yeah.
So
Can I tell you something?
yes.
I remember one time, some page, I don't know who is behind the page. They got a photo of my face, cropped my lips, and made it their profile photo. Without my consent, without asking me. I didn't know what that page was doing. I didn't know what the page talks about. And from nowhere, I was seeing my face, my lips.
Yeah.
I could recognize it. And people who knew me could tell that was my lips. And the comments were obscene.
Yeah.
And the comments were directed to me, not even to the page. And they were enjoying and having a fuss over it. Wow. And when I went to ask the administrators of the page, they instead became abusive. And the person abused me in and out. Why I was questioning him, because he can do anything to my photo anyway.
Yeah.
You see? So I don't know, in this kind of situations, people are so entitled in Uganda. Yeah. And because our system is so weak, I could not even trace who this person is. Up to tomorrow, by the way, I don't know who that person is. A few people tried suggesting to me who they could be, but I didn't have any evidence to pin them down and say, this is this person, so that I can face.
Yeah.
But what I did that time is similar to what you were saying. I contacted many people who helped me report to Facebook. Yeah. And I don't know, somehow, if the photo was brought down or the person decided to pull it down, but at some point it was got down.
Yeah.
The whole page was taken off from Facebook.
I don't understand if the page was taken down, but my photo was no longer there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the rallying actually worked.
It works.
True. It does.
Wow. So I'll also speak out of experience. I have a journalistic background, and it's also one of the reasons that I had to leave active journalism to pursue what I'm doing right now. So there was this particular time I'd gone to follow up on a story about 6 years ago, to follow up on a story that I was doing it. It was somewhat an investigative story. So I go to this person's office, the person being investigated in this sense. I share my findings with him. Then he's like, okay, let me take your number. I'm going to call you when I am comfortable with talking about this. So I shared my names and my number, and this person goes and looks for me on Facebook, gets me on Facebook, befriends me. Me, innocently, I thought, okay, my source.
You found a new friend.
Yes, I'm increasing my friend base. Finally,
Yeah.
a popular person wants to be my friend, not knowing that the intentions were actually ill. So the harassment continues. If you do not drop this story, I'm going to look for you. This person apparently got to know where I stay, where I pray, my schedules in church, but then I didn't have kids yet. So like all those things, I was very young and very scared, and and if this is something that is to happen to, let's say, out of 10, let's say 7 women, especially those in the journalism profession,
Yeah.
7 out of 10 experiencing such, having such experiences, I don't think we'll have any female voices in the newsroom, in the male-dominated newsrooms.
Not at all.
So I also think there is really it's high time. I don't know if it's for the states, or it's for the policymakers, or it's for the activists, or it's for the social workers to help us fight this thing called harassment, online harassment, because the world everything is online right now. Every person needs to be given an opportunity to leverage online technology and online spaces. So if there is a caliber of people that are frustrating people's efforts from enjoying what the internet has to offer, then there is something that needs to be done.
Exactly.
About it.
I think the responsibility should be collective.
Yeah.
The responsibility should not be left to maybe the policymakers. We should be each other's the watchdogs. Yeah. You see, this is not right with this person. We should be critical to make sure first we don't become part of the abusers, because that's one very important thing. Make sure you don't become part of the abusers if you find somebody being abused.
Yeah.
Don't get recruited to aiding. That is the first and the most effective way of fighting this online abuse. Yeah. Because it starts with one person, and then 2 people, and then a group, and then the whole community is abusing you. Like me, for example, I think the whole town can abuse me. They can decide to abuse me one day. And then they feel it's okay.
But
We have abused her.
I also like the fact that you're somewhat immune to, you do not let it get a better part of you, which is really good. Because your activism continues, the backlash comes, but you pay a deaf ear to it.
In my world only,
Yeah.
I would never mind that.
Yeah.
But it only gets to me when they start involving family.
Yeah.
Like one time, my mother-in-law was called. I think about 3 people called her, and they were reporting me to her. My boyfriend has been called, my sisters, my brothers, everybody around me was called because of what I thought I was handling it properly. So that is the point where I break down. But if that is, if the situation is just me alone, I think I can handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kim, the phenomenal woman.
I can, and I will always tell them I'm phenomenal. I can handle any situation, and that keeps me going, telling myself that you can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like they say, this discussion is quite interesting, and we can go over and over and over because the topic around online harassment is quite broad, and I think we can't exhaust it in one sitting. Yeah. So back to you, Michael, as we conclude. What is your take still on the notion and the narrative that men are the grave perpetrators? Like your parting shots, that the men are the grave perpetrators of online harassment. And if in case there is a perpetrator out there who is watching, what would you tell them in a word or two?
Well, as a man, I know violence, online or offline, is perpetrated by people, men and women alike. I don't want to take the lens of the gender angle because I've seen both men and women do it. So my only emphasis is on what we can each do as an individual. And like Kim said already, if you come to a space where there's violence, don't spread it further. Yeah. There's no point already kicking someone who is down. Rather, we can be the voice of reason, call it out, drive a different narrative. But also, I think it takes all of us, and there is no one single approach that will be employed to end violence against women online, but rather quite a number of things that can be done, starting from our families, in our schools, but also at our workplaces. Are we the kind of people who see someone being abused and we keep quiet? Are we the kind of people who see our husbands abusing our maids or abusing our daughters or our sisters or their mothers, and we keep quiet about it? As a woman, if that is happening in your space, do you sit your husband down, or you fear that there are going to be repercussions against you? That reminds me, recently there was this young girl, there was a teacher who was caught in the home, who had gone to do God knows what at this girl's place, and he was caught with condoms, and there's a trail of messages that are happening. And then many people were talking about the girl, that see how she dresses, why do our parents allow her to, have phones and dress like this and all that. And then yesterday, a picture of him, I think he has been released. Then a picture of him and his wife embracing him and, giving him food surfaced online. So you ask yourself, if you are a woman and your husband was caught at the home of a minor who had gone with condoms, and there's this old trail of messages going on, why are you doing that? What message are you sending to other women and young girls out there? Also, by the fact that now pictures of this young girl is out when she was dressed in, a mini skirt and all that, all over the internet. What message does that, send? So I think we are all responsible for calling out violence or violent tendencies in spaces where we are. But also when it comes to it, we must be ready to report and then stand alone like Kim has decided, despite whatever abuse will be leveled against you. Because if you're challenging some of these bad practices, people will leave you. People will say, that's the feminist. Let her do her thing. Once in a while, if they can reach out to your family members, or sometimes they bring in your children in the picture, that is sort of like to put you down and show you that if you speak against this, there are other spaces we can reach. There are people who you care about that we can also talk about. So if you don't have a thick skin, you will say, now it has reached here, let me stop. But if you do, then they will see the resolve and the persistence that you have. And sometimes that allow people to start seeing your message differently. Yeah, but I think it takes all of us, and no single approach. We all have to do our part and leave the part for authorities where they are. Yeah.
Thank you for that. I think our guests have summed it all up. The conversation around online harassment is quite broad, like I said earlier on. But all I can say to the people who are watching or listening to us right now, if you are a perpetrator of online harassment, please, let's not add more salt to the wound. Let's make the internet or technology a safe space where everyone, regardless of your gender or sexual orientation, you can leverage and enjoy. Because tech is tech. And all of us need to benefit from tech.
Maybe Ruth, I need to say this.
Yeah.
Usually, if Ugandans now, there's not a lot of things that we have control over. So if there's a space where there's violence, you see how people light up. So there's this saying that what is a day without violence? So literally, there's that hashtag violence going on everywhere. So I think for me, because so many things are happening that are outside of our control.
Yeah.
When something like a woman's nude is leaked online, people start getting, and that starts trending. So perhaps even us who know better need to stop engaging with such content, because elsewhere in other developed worlds, people are using the internet for good.
Yes,
But
exactly.
for us, if there's a nude, trust me, if you go on Twitter right now and there is any nude, if you search for Namere or even that young girl, the teacher, you will see how many people have interacted with that content. So we are in a space where we are trying to encourage our children to learn when they're on holiday, use the internet and all that. And if contents that are very violent is what is trending online, so that also questions where is our priority as adults, or as a government, or as whatever. So I think we can all contribute to creating a safe space online where we use it for learning, for growth, for development, for e-commerce, and all these other good things, instead of spending time to share nudes. Unfortunately, that's what we see happen now.
Build up from what you said and reaffirm it. There is a way we Ugandans like things that have gone bad. Like we pride in making other bad situations worse. Like for example, you talked about the Nameri situation. I've also seen people in our WhatsApp group cropping because they were saying she has a younger husband.
Yeah.
So people are cropping an older face, putting on the husband, and creating a much younger face and putting it for her
Yeah.
to reaffirm that it's okay for a man to get someone older. To get someone younger, but
not okay for an older woman to get a younger man.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that makes us also sort of hypocrites.
While I don't believe Ugandans are violent,
Yeah.
I believe we just don't have what to do. And if we got busy doing something, we wouldn't have time to go cropping somebody and putting this one's face. And at the end of the day, you find that the person doing this does not even have food on the table.
No.
See? So I think we should be responsible. Let's just be responsible, and let's respect people's spaces.
Yeah.
Maturity is when you learn to believe it is okay for somebody to say something, it is okay for somebody to be the way they are, even if you don't like it, even if it is against your beliefs.
Yeah.
Let people be. If they are not harmful to you, let them be.
I think
If they are not harmful to the people around them, let them be. So we should be very critical and see how much something can be before we go abusing somebody. Like, for example, if somebody has a different opinion, how is that harmful to you? Mm-hmm. You can only just shut the opinion down and continue with your life.
Yeah.
You don't need to be violent on that person because they think different from you.
Yeah.
Or because somebody believes in something else, because somebody is Catholic and you're Protestant, it doesn't make the Catholic wrong. Mm-hmm. You can be Protestant, let the other person be Catholic. That's okay. And so if we do that, if we learn to mind our businesses, there won't be any violence.
Yeah.
Let's all be responsible. Let's know where we can come in. Let's know how much we can get to someone's space and know when we can say stop to ourselves. And let's stop.
Awesome. I think Kim, the phenomenal woman, has summed it up all for us. Let people be. Everyone is entitled to their opinions. If you cannot consume that opinion, put in your views. You know, if someone has shared a picture or has a post that does not appeal to you, ignore and just press the next button and go to the next post, other than harassing and putting out hateful comments that would make them feel uncomfortable. It's unfortunate that not everyone has a thick skin like Kim. I know of people who have gone on a social media detox. They've gone offline for some time. Why? Because someone posted something that irritated them, and so they're scared of going back online. And if you have many people doing that, getting offline, and yet it's the online space that is helping people to consume, to make money. It's helping people to do research. It's helping people to study, and yet these are the same people that you're throwing off the online space. I think it will be very unfortunate, and the generation that we are going to raise and have will be one that doesn't go with the trend, which is as people embracing tech for good. So that being said, I would like to appreciate you all for taking your time and speaking to us, to our listeners and our viewers out there about technology and how men have been labeled as the perpetrators. Not all men, though, that's a disclaimer, not all men are perpetrators of online violence, but the few who push for this, and the women also who push for this violence, you've been called out, desist from that, and make the online space a happy space for everyone. Until then,